Welcome back. This is Keith on and welcome to another tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about Excel's sum product function. And what we're going to learn today is we're going to learn what it is. We're going to learn the basic syntax to this function. We're also going to learn uh, uh, how Excel evaluates trues and falses in its formula. And uh, we're going to give a practical example on a small data set, how we can return the total sales by product category using the sum product function. So let's go over to the next tab. And what is the purpose of the sum product function? Basically, its purpose is to multiply corresponding elements in different arrays, and then after it gets that value, it sums up those products. And we're going to learn what that exactly means over here. The syntax is just basically you're going to feed the function one or more different arrays. Array is just basically a range of cells in Excel. And our example here is we're going to return the total sales by product category. Now, what does that mean? Now, we have individual product categories. In this case, we only have two different product categories. And what we want to return is the total sales, okay, based upon quantity times unit price, which equals total sales for this particular row. And then after we get that, we want to return the sum of all of them based upon the condition that we pass it in the sum product function, meaning that we want, in this case, we want to return the total sales for electronics. And then I'll show you, once I type in the total sales for furniture, it'll get that. And so to go back over here to the left, it says we're going to be summing the values based upon one or more conditions, and then we're going to multiply the values in two or more arrays and then sum the products of that. So let's go over here to the right. So this is my condition cell. So I'm going to be typing in here, okay, what product category I want to return the total sales for. And this is the formula cell. If you look up at the formula bar here, it matches what I got highlighted over here in the spreadsheet. And so let's dissect each part of this formula here. So first of all, how to we're going to be looking at the condition part of it first. So in other words, we're going to be looking at cells, the range of the data set, M6 through M9, okay? And we want to look for all categories that equal the value in this cell. In this case, right now, it's electronics. So that's what this formula right here does. Look up at the formula bar. I'm highlighting it. And what it does, it returns trues and falses. So let's press F9. And as you can see, it returns a true or false. So I'm going to press Control C. I'm going to escape out of that. And I'm going to go down here to this cell. I already did it, but I'll just redo it. You need to press an equal, paste in that constant array. This constant array is are surrounded by curly braces with all the values in there. And the semicolons between each value means that once I press enter, it's going to produce these values in rows instead of columns. That's what the semicolon does. So I can press enter, and that's what it does. So let's dissect this a little bit further. So it's going through this range, M6 through M9. First, it's going to go through M6. Okay, does M6 equal the value in cell M11? If it does, it's going to return true. and it's going to follow that process for each cell in that range, and it's going to return a true or false. Now, in this particular case, does cell M8 equal the value in cell M11? In this case, it doesn't. So that's why this gets returned false over here. So now let's look at how does Excel evaluate a true or false in a cell. Now, this is important because what Excel does, it evaluates true as a number one or false as a zero, because we're going to be using a one or a zero in this formula over here. So now, how do we know this? There's two methods that you could determine how Excel evaluates a true or false in the cell. Right now, these are text values. So one method is you're going to take the value equal the value in this cell, and we're going to multiply it by 1. And it's going to return 1 because true equals 1 in Excel. We're going to do the same thing over here. Equal the value in this cell, multiply it by 1. And it's going to return 0 because Excel evaluates false, this logical condition, as a 0. The other way that you could determine this is by using the AND function in Excel. So if we press equal N, and what it does, it converts a non-number value to a number. Dates to serial numbers, trues to 1, or falses or anything else to 0. So that's what it does. So it's going to evaluate the value that I pass it. So I'm going to press that. I want to evaluate the value in cell L17. So it returns a 1. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. And let's evaluate the value in cell L18. And it's going to return a 0. So that's how that works out. So why is this important? You'll see in a second. Logical value. So I'm going to use the second version here on determining the values for these trues and falses. So I'm going to press equal and pass it the value that you want. Press enter. Then, now I'm going to return. I'm going to copy this formula down. I'm going to use double click on this handle, and it copies the formula down for each row, as you can see. Now let's get the quantity and unit price for each one of these values up here. So I'm going to take the quantity and the unit price. So how do I do this? Let's go back to this formula and let's go to the second part. And I'll explain what this asterisk means and what this asterisk means over here. So if I highlight the first range here, all it does is brings back the values in that range. So press F9, Control C, escape, press it, equal sign, paste in the values that it returns. It does that. So in other words, what did this portion up here mean? All it's doing is it's grabbing the values row by row in this range, N6 through N9. That's all it's doing. We're going to do the same thing for this part over here to get the unit price. Let's go back to the formula. Of course, there's another way to get the unit price, but I'm just showing you how Excel evaluates this formula. So let's select this portion of the formula. Again, it gets the values, press F9, Control C, escape out of that, press equal, then it gets that. Okay, now how does Excel get the total sales for the condition? So based upon these conditions or this logical evaluation, okay, let's first get the total sales now for this. Now, the other way, of course, we could use this here, take the quantity times the unit price, and it gets that formula. I could copy that down. So in other words, these are the total sales for all the rows, not just for the rows that equal electronics. So let's get these values another way by going to the formula. So I'm going to press delete out of here. Let's go back up to the formula. Now let's highlight all of this, not the individual components, what's in the braces. So let's highlight this. And as you can see, it gets the values. F9, Control C, escape, equal, paste in what I copied, press enter. It does the same thing. What did Excel do? It just took for each one of these rows, it takes N, basically let's start from row N6, the value there, times it by 06, and it gets 500. As you can see, 5 times 100 equals 500. And it continues that process all the way down for each row in the data set, not just the ones for electronics. Now, the last part of what Excel does with this entire formula, okay, it applies the condition to this. So what is it doing? As you can see, I could go up here. Well, here, let's do it with the formula first, and then I'll show you how to do it the other way by going up to the formula bar. So let's apply this condition. Let's equal this. So we're going to take the logical evaluation, which is 1, times it by the total sales, then press enter, and then copy this down. Okay? So as you can see, this is 0. Why is this 0? Because of the fact I'm taking 0 times 800, which is going to be 0. 0 was returned because Excel condition of this part of the formula returned false because the third row in this data set does not equal our condition of electronics. Let's get these values another way. So I'm going to press delete. Let's go back up to the formula. Let's highlight this entire formula right here to get the result. As you can see above here, F9, Control C, escape, equal, paste in the values, it does the same thing. Okay. Now, after it does all this, what I explained, that Excel takes the values that it returns and it sums up those values. And as you can see, if I sum up the values in this column, it's going to return 1670, and it matches what we have here. Now let's type in furniture. Let's do this, or right here. So now the condition is furniture. It's going to go through the same process. It's going to look in this range and look for any values that equal furniture. When it finds that, then it goes into the next part of the formula. It calculates the total sales for those rows that equal furniture, takes quantity times unit price, and it gets the value. Once it gets the value, then it sums up everything that has returned true. And as you can see, it returned 800. So if we go up here, 4 times 200 is 800. Okay, so that's how that works. Now let's go back up here. Let's copy this, Control C, escape. Oh no, I like this. Press F9, Control C, escape. Let's paste this down over here, equal. And as you can see, it returns 800, which is also equal to that. Now, hopefully this tutorial gave you how the sum product function works, how you could apply certain conditions to get the sum of the products that it returns, and gave you an idea of what's the purpose of it is and everything else. So the one thing I just remember, I want to explain what these asterisks are. So what this asterisk in this formula means for this part is it's taken each value in each respective cell. So in other words, it takes N6 times 0.6. So it takes the values and multiplies it together, gets a certain value. Now this portion, this asterisk over here, it's going to take the result of this formula right here for each row. And remember what false does, it returns a 0. So it takes 0 times this result over here for that particular row, multiplies it together, and gets its value. So hopefully I explained everything correctly in this. And again, I gave you a comprehensive example of it. In future videos, I will go through more complex sum product examples with more conditions and multiple conditions with and ors. And again, I want to thank you for stopping by today. You have a great day. And remember to like and share this video and comment. And please subscribe to my channel, because if you do so, you'll always get updated on new videos when I post them. You have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.